Hey folks, we are back at livecoding.ca. My name's Nick Taylor, your host, and today I'm hanging out with Sami Jaber from Builderio. How you doing today, Sami?
I'm doing great. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing pretty good. So, for folks who might not know who you are, you mind kind of just say as much as you'd like to about yourself, and then we can start talking about what we're going to talk about today.
Sure thing. Yeah. My name is Sami. I'm a software engineer at Builder. I've been here for about a year and a half, maybe.
Okay.
I live in Montreal, Canada. That's where I'm based, at least for the next 2 weeks. I'm moving to Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Cool.
This is very unrelated to what we're going to be talking about, but it's on my mind because I have like tons of boxes outside of this room.
Okay.
And yeah, I'd say like a quick preview before that, I did 4 years of front-end engineering as towards the end as a web team lead at unsplash.com.
Okay.
And before that, I did data engineering. So I had like some slight variation in my like software engineering career. But today I am working on what we're going to be talking about.
Yes. I don't know why I said it that way, but yeah. Also, it's a small world. Some folks that know me, I'm in Montreal as well, and I was actually at a Solid JS meetup in Montreal 2 or 3 weeks ago. Solid JS is another framework. If you're unfamiliar with it, feel free to check it out. And I met Sami there, and it's an even smaller world. I mean, it was nice to meet him there, but he used to work at Unsplash, like you said, and my old coworker still works there, and he used to work with Sami. So anyways, super small world. And I went to school in the Maritimes, so I'm familiar with Halifax. It's really beautiful out there, so you won't go wrong there. Yeah, so like I was gonna say, I don't know why I was so secretive about the topic for some reason, but yeah, so we're gonna talk about mitosis, and like the tagline on the stream here is building framework agnostic components with mitosis. So can you kind of maybe unwrap that for everybody who might not be familiar with the project?
For sure, yeah. So we have web frameworks, right? We have a lot of them today. The vast majority of people know React. That's why I was like going over my background. That's what I started with. I feel like most people today, feel like, what frameworks do you know? You know React, but there's like a dozen or something, and the numbers keeps on growing for good reason. Every framework is like coming up with its own trade-offs and solutions to different complicated problems. But one thing that keeps on coming up over and over is, for certain people, the need to be able to write the same component for every single framework. And that's not everybody's use case. If you're like, when I worked for 4 years at Unsplash, we just had like one web application. And that's a lot of people just have one web application. And so in that case, like, I don't need to have a component work in multiple frameworks. I'm just building the one app. But for a lot of other people, other front-end engineers, they're building UI design libraries. They're like a part of like a big company. That company has 10, 20, 30 web apps ran by different teams, and those teams chose different web frameworks. But then they're like, hey, we want to have a unified design system, right? Which makes total sense. And so now there's like a team or some number of people be like, this is what our button's going to look like everywhere. Well, like, how do you make that happen, right? And so the number one suggestion that most people would give after hearing this would be like, use web components. That's kind of like the de facto, like that's kind of like the community's like standard solution, or like that's what we're trying to do, is like that's like the standard way of trying to solve this problem of interoperable web components. But web components is not really, it's not a framework. It's more of like a combination of technologies that are built on top of browsers.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we're already like trying to like dive deep, but for reasons
It's all
that we
good.
can like, I don't know if we want to dive into those reasons like now or later, but essentially we tried that at Builder. We tried to solve our need for multiple like framework-agnostic components using web components, and
Okay.
that didn't quite cut it for our needs. Especially because we wanted, out of the box support for SSR for every single output. We wanted
Okay.
it to feel as close, like not feel as close as possible, feel like a native component in that framework every time. So when we have a React user using a React SDK, we want that SDK to feel literally like a React component, like no other additional steps, no other like stuff to finagle and like set up instructions like, hey, to set it up, you're gonna have to do this and this and that.
Okay.
And we also had things like we wanted to, our SDKs really needed to be very capable and be able to use all of the features of those frameworks. So I kind of like skipped that part, is that's one of the main reasons we use Mitosis, is to build our SDKs, which we have like one for React that was written by hand, but then we're like, okay, that's like we're not gonna be able to do that over and over. So how are we gonna do the Vue 2 SDK, the Vue 3 SDK, the Solid.js SDK, the Svelte SDK, the Quick SDK, I don't know if there's another one that I forgot to list, but that's already a lot of them. So web components was not really an approach that we were able to use, given that we wanted our components to be able to call our users' components and vice versa. Just like a lot of very intricate functionality was needed. And so we started playing with this idea of, well, could you in some crazy way write a component once and have it be a Vue component, like a real .Vue component, and then a React .gsx component, and then a .svelte component? Like, could you actually achieve that somehow? And we think we have, and that's what Mitosis is.
Okay, no, that's a great explainer. I had my coworker Zach Leatherman on last week talking about web components and the server-side rendering story there, and he has a neat solution for that. But it sounds like in your use case, like you just outlined, that even with an SSR story with web components, like all the things you wanted to do, and I think it's also more too, you wanted to support all these frameworks, so it's not like web components wasn't an option as well in that case. Like you're saying, like people want to consume your Vue SDK, so you obviously want to give them Vue components, not a web component. So is that also like one of the reasons, or am I like, aside from there was the technical aspect, but there was also, I guess, a need that like I would like to have a Vue SDK,
I don't know historically if that's necessarily a need. It's more like, I think like just like having like an excellent developer experience has always been like part of Builder's motto. Like, developers are often the people that are pushing for Builder to be used internally in their organizations, which is like not always necessarily the case for, tools that are in that like kind of like CMS, visual CMS space, because developers are always reluctant. And so like, you're like, oh, this thing's gonna like bloat my software, is gonna make like my life harder, it's gonna make my web app like not as good. So I think we had like this like razor sharp focus on making the DX like the most incredible thing ever. And so having like the thing we're sharing with our customers is be like, it's just the thing you're used to. It's like the Vue components, just like any other thing you're importing is just gonna work out of the box. We're not gonna have to give you like a list of additional instructions afterwards. Oh yeah, is Steve on there talking? Yeah, as most people.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Steve. Is that Steve from Builder?
That's the founder and CEO of Builder. He's listening to me right now, so I hope I'm not. I'm sure he's gonna be here correcting any like old lore or history that I didn't get perfectly correct.
Yeah, this could affect your promotion. No, I don't know. Steve, if you're listening, give him a raise. Give him a raise if you're listening.
I think the biggest thing was just like there's all these features. Like, we want to be able to use context in React, like the React context API. I want to be able to use that seamlessly. In Vue, we want to use the equivalent of that, which is like the dependency and injection kind of API. And so we want to be able to use those things, or like an equivalent of them, in every single framework so that we don't, so that we can just like make that API as powerful as possible, and that so that the SDK can do all of the things that we want to do.
Okay.
And we do have a web component SDK. That's the thing. I just think we were
Oh,
not
okay.
like really happy with like all of the things that it's able to do. And so that's kind of like, we tried that first. Like obviously no one's going to try to build a framework agnostic component generator just for the fun of it. They're going to try, the other solutions. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm laughing at your coworker Steve. He's saying he accidentally closed the Twitch tab and he had to watch a bunch of ads to get back to watching the stream. Okay, no, that's cool. And I mean, this kind of ties, just to kind of tie in again to the reason for creating Mitosis. I mean, this came out of Builder.io. So, and for folks who aren't familiar with Builder.io, because I think it kind of makes sense to talk about it because it ties into why Mitosis exists. Like, what is Builder.io exactly? And I would assume Mitosis fits in because it provides SDKs, but I'll let you kind of speak to that. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like the story of Mitosis fits very tightly with what Builder does, because our most active usage of Mitosis is building the SDK. So explaining that backstory is very important.
Okay.
I feel like I should have opened our marketing Notion doc or something to make sure I get like the definition right. The best way to explain it is that Builder.io, or just Builder for short, is a visual CMS. Okay. So for those who are familiar with the CMS, that's a content management system, I believe is the correct acronym here. So the CMS typically is just a place where you go, you're gonna put, you're gonna like create all of these kind of hierarchies of data. You're gonna describe like, oh, I'm gonna have a thing called an article, and it's gonna have an author and a date and a blah, blah, blah. Okay. Builder takes that one step further by being a visual CMS, which means that you can define all of these data models, having them be as complex as you want, but then you can go into a visual editor where you can also register your components, which is kind of like the mind-blowing part. At least blew my mind when I realized that that's like what Builder does. But like a month into Builder, I'm just like playing with it, like I'm like building something. Like, wait, you can like register your own components. So you're a React developer, you create a React file. This is my JSX code, blah, blah, blah. My own fancy component with like 5 props, and then you register that to Builder. And then your like marketing coworkers, your like any non-technical person can just go into builder.io/content to like log into your account, and then they can see, and then like a drag and drop menu. It's like, here's like the component that like Nick built, and I can grab it and drag it like a million times, and I can drag it and like, and then I can give it children, so I can give it any other component as children, and then like, and just create like the most complex thing. And even, give it props, give it states, literally everything. Gotcha. So that really unlocks like an insane amount of possibilities in terms of like what you can do. Because now like the developer can kind of worry about building these like intricate components and make sure their props are all set up. And then, you have now anyone who's a non-technical person can just unleash their creativity and like build the most intricate of pages that way.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, I didn't realize, I haven't delved into Builder myself. I'd heard stuff about it because there's things coming out of it like Quick as well, which is another thing, but another framework. Okay, but that's pretty cool. So like, I didn't realize that it did all that, Builder. So that's pretty cool. So like, as somebody technical, you build out what you need based on whatever the specs were for your components, design system, whatever. And then they can just drag and drop, and they don't need to know it's props or children. They just know I can drag or connect, and then that's super cool. Okay. Okay. So that makes, and I guess my next question then is, so like, the CMS part, like the visual CMS, it's because like maybe my app where I want to use the CMS is a React app, which is why you have the React SDK, or if I'm using some other app with the visual CMS, that's Vue, etc. That's the reason for all these different SDKs, right?
Yes, correct. So we have, users. I mean, initially, I think some of our earliest users were using like React and Angular, maybe. But as time progressed, we started getting, all of these people wanting to use as our software with any other kind of like React Native, that's not the same thing as React necessarily. And then
Okay.
Vue 2 versus Vue 3 is not quite the same thing. And you could obviously, like an SDK's purpose, like an SDK never does anything that you can't do yourself, but
Yeah.
we'd have to, like, if we were to tell people just make API calls on your own, they'd have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Okay.
The biggest part is obviously that editing experience. So the SDK is responsible for rendering the content, which is kind of one part of the equation. And then the other part of the equation is the editing and the previewing experience. So we let users preview drafts of their content on their live production site, like if they provide like query parameters and stuff like that. So being able to do that is also, something you'd have to like stitch together. And I guess the third thing actually is that we have about a dozen or so components that are built in. Like we have our own building blocks, like an image component, a form component, a video component, a text component, columns component that kind of like does responsive logic on its own. And so that's quite a bit of, I mean, they kind of add up. I don't know the total number, but it's close to a dozen. And so to write them and make sure they all act the exact same way in about the number of web frameworks that exist today that people want to use Builder with is quite tedious. And it's a lot of repetition. And no software engineer wants to like do the same thing 12 times. They'd be like, well, there's gotta be a way for me not to have to do that many times in a row.
Yeah, and we'll definitely get to looking at some stuff shortly, but right now for Mitosis, like for the frameworks that it can generate, it's an open source project. I'll drop a link to it again, but not all open source projects take contributions sometimes, so I'm just curious because it's like a builder project. Do you still take open source contributions from external people as well, or or is there even some community driven stuff? Like, I don't know, like say I come out with a new framework, and then I'm like, can I use Mitosis to give you my set of or my criteria to be able to use it in my framework? Is that something that the project does, or it's kind of out of scope right now?
Yes, please. Any and all contributions are absolutely welcome. We've had some really amazing contributors come along, and honestly, I don't think Mitosis would have gotten to the place that it is here today if not for the people who have been contributing for the time that I've been here, the time that I've been working on Mitosis, which is January. We've had people like build some like fully fleshed out features. We've had people like put together some really useful testing infrastructure. And we've had external people build custom things that we'll get into in a bit about like their own parsers for Mitosis, which is happening outside the code base, but very much something we're helping with however we can. Absolutely, contributions are like very much needed. Like I'm not, again, I've learned React as my first web framework. I've had to learn Vue, difference between Vue 2 and Vue 3, composition API, options API, Svelte, Solid.js. I definitely don't know the ins and outs of every single web framework. So that's definitely anyone who's like using Mitosis and is like, oh, this like one specific nuanced thing in the web framework that I'm an expert and doesn't behave as expected. Like, yeah, please, like, I'll point you to where to do it, but I've never written an Angular component, so I don't know.
No, it's good to know. I'm just asking too because for folks listening, it is Hacktoberfest. So if you are looking to make some contributions too, it sounds like a super interesting project, and I see the parallels in my work. Like like I work on the frameworks team at Netlify and the ecosystem, and I'm kind of like you. I don't know all the frameworks inside and out either yet. I only started in April, so I feel like we're kind of having a similar journey in that way. Not to sound cheesy, but it's but it's also exciting, I think, like because before, I was just working on one framework, and it wasn't I was working at dev.to before, and it wasn't even framework really. We were using Preact with like bespoke stuff. There was no framework. It was a Rails application, but regardless, like typically, like you were saying initially, you work somewhere like on Splash. I know they do React because your coworker, old coworker Tama is gonna be on in a couple weeks. But so like there's no reason for you to be doing any Vue there unless there's like a compelling reason to move or some piece needs to be in it for whatever reason. So yeah, that's why I was just curious is all. But okay, so that's really cool. And Steve in the chat, your coworker was saying there's a really interesting project. It's called Sveltosis.
Yeah, so that's the thing I was kind of alluding to, and I guess since he blew he blew the spoiler, I can just start talking about parsers because, well, I guess we should. I feel like we haven't really actually said what Mitosis does.
Yeah.
And so I guess the best way to do that is to just start by showing the fiddle. I don't know if it's possible to share a screen.
Yeah. So we'll just go to pairing view. I know in your case it might be a little fuzzy for you. That's something on my end. I'm not sure what, but okay. So yeah, I guess let's talk about the fiddle. It's like if folks have used JS Fiddle or similar things, it allows you to have, it's kind of like a playground. So I guess in Mitosis land, what does the fiddle do for you, or what can you do with it?
Yeah. I mean, the fiddle is honestly the best way to kind of very quickly get a feel for what mitosis is, because there aren't really a lot of tools like it. Most people will. Oh my God, Steve is just spoiling everything in the comments. No one read the comments.
Okay.
Everyone, if you can make the comments slow down by like 2 minutes.
Also, I don't think I'll ever go to a movie that Steve's seen because he'll probably spill the beans. Oh yeah, by the way, they all die at the end.
The fiddle is kind of a really good way to kind of break down what mitosis is. And so on the left, you see the input, and on the right half, you see the output. And so the left side would be the mitosis file that you create. And as you can see, it has a very React, solid.js-like syntax. That's because it's using JSX. And because it kind of had this like hooks approach, right? It has like this useState hook that kind of stores the state, etc. And there's also a bunch of other like templates, so you can like play with like the different templates and see different examples and see how that transforms on the right side. And so on the right, you'll see we have a Vue tab open, and that's showing you the generated output for the Vue component. And you'll see it's just a Vue component. And I feel like from my experience answering like people on Discord or people in GitHub issues, it's like, well, how does Mitosis handle like event delegation, which like, I don't know what that's about. I assume that's something to do with like using web components. It's something about handling events or something, because it just keeps on coming up. And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, Mitosis doesn't do anything. Mitosis is going to like generate a string that's going to be saved as a Vue file. And you're going to have no trace of mitosis left. You will not be able to tell that mitosis wrote this. It's just going to look like something a person who writes Vue components wrote. And so, you can like click around, like change from like Vue to React to Quick or etc. Just like click around, and you'll see that all of these components, and there's also all these toggles that kind of let you switch from like TypeScript to JavaScript and different like APIs, and they're all just normal components. And they're just like, this is something that you would write by hand. And you can, quickly change, like if you go in and start like changing the CSS inside the input on the left, or like change like the div text, you'll see that it is just updating directly. So it's definitely like it's a very easy way to drive home the point of like, this is what mitosis is.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
No, this seems, I mean, it seems pretty clear to me what this is giving me already. A question I had about this is mitosis used for the starting point? Like say, for example, like I've just built this component, for example, and then I want to bring that in somewhere. It's kind of like my starter. Like say, for example, at that point, I want to continue, like, I don't know, maybe I add some on-click events and stuff, or is the goal really like I should do all that still in mitosis and let it translate everything always, so that I don't get a disconnect between like the definition or not the definition, but I guess I guess it's considered a language, I guess. I mean, well, it's JavaScript with JSX basically. Um, so like I see there's an on change event here, and I see it added accordingly over here, with getting the value here, setting the name.
Mm.
But like if I wanted to add, I don't know, like at click, like I shouldn't. Okay, I can't edit it in the Fiddle, but like you're encouraged to keep doing all that work within the component itself, right? Not to diverge from the mitosis definition.
Yeah, 100%. It would defeat the purpose if you start making changes to the thing that mitosis is generating. So it's really
Yeah,
like you would think of the mitosis output as just like a generated file. It's just something that a compiler generated, and
yeah,
you wouldn't want to commit that to your Git repository. You would just commit the file on the left, and this
yeah.
file on the left just is able or like should be able to handle all of the things you want to do.
Okay.
And so whatever's on the right, that's just going to be in like it's going to be like in a disk, like right, like in an output folder, and then
Yeah.
people can consume that. But the same way that when you write TypeScript, you don't
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and make manual changes to the JavaScript code that the TypeScript
Yeah.
compiler generates. You would just like make everything happen in that source of truth, because the whole point is we want the mitosis code base to be your source of truth. So it has
Yeah.
to be able to do everything. And if it's something that it can't do yet, well, we work on adding that to mitosis so it can. But
Okay.
there's nothing inherent about like event handlers or anything. There's nothing inherently impossible about them that makes you need to do them on a case-by-case basis. There are exceptions,
Yeah.
of course. But once we get into the weeds of like trying to do everything, there are some like
Yeah.
tricky nuances. There are like we have a lot of mechanisms using plugins. We have a plugin system that we can look
Okay.
at as well, where you can, on like a generator by generator basis, tweak the content on the left on the fly before the generator consumes it, so that you can like be like, okay, when I'm in view 2 or view 3, there's like this one thing that
Okay.
I want to do. Or React Native has this like thing where it doesn't support like CSS style inheritance, and I want to do this thing. So all of that is
Okay.
possible. Like it's built on a plugin foundation that's really flexible.
Okay.
But yeah, you definitely
That's
want to
cool.
make everything happen in the original file as much as possible.
Okay. So treat the output like build artifacts essentially. Okay.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I gotta say, my mind's already pretty blown. Like I mean, conceptually the mapping makes sense to me. I think the concept is, I don't want to say simple, but but like the idea, it makes complete sense. But I imagine like the mapping of it is uh, I guess if you could speak to that, like I imagine you're using ASTs to convert it to the abstract syntax trees. I always have trouble saying that. Is that how you go about converting things, I imagine? Or
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's how we go about it. So
okay.
the cool part, the thing that makes mitosis special, in my opinion, is what sits in the middle between the left side and the right side. So the way we go about transforming the input is we will parse it using Babel, and generate this AST, and then like traverse the AST and store everything that needs to be stored.
Okay.
Oh yeah, ASTExplorer.net is a lifesaver. There is not a lot of very in-depth documentation about ASTs and JavaScript, and the best way is to use AST Explorer to see what works how.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have the stuff on the left gets
Yeah.
parsed by mitosis, and you end up with a JSON that represents it. And if you actually go in the Outputs tab and you
Yeah.
click on the right arrow, you will find, I think, JSON is the name of the tab, and that will show you that intermediate representation. So it will show you
Okay.
what it initially compiles to. And that kind of is the magic of mitosis. Like this JSON is really, that's what your component is. That's what a component is in general. Like regardless of any web framework, regardless of what tool you're using, what we're all doing is in our brain, we're building something that is essentially this JSON. We have like a list of imports, a list of exports. We have a state object, and then each one has a name, and then it has some code that generates it. Then we have a children array, which can have deeply nested children. And then we have some CSS. And I think the thing that makes mitosis possible is the fact that we're like, okay, this JSON is going to be an intermediate representation of your component, which is like a term that's
Yeah.
borrowed from compilers. So an intermediate representation like IR is this like in between step that helps you kind of go from any input that knows how to generate this intermediate representation to any output that knows how to consume this intermediate representation. So
Yeah.
an example is like Java with like the Java virtual machine. To those who are familiar, like there's like I don't know how many languages now built on top of the Java, like the JVM is like Java,
Yeah.
Kotlin, I don't know,
There's a bunch.
Scala. Yeah. And they can all compile to any like bytecode in any operating system. Like they don't care what
Yeah.
operating system you're using because the operating systems, like the JVM knows how to generate the code and the parsers know how to convert their code into the JVM like bytecode, I guess is a
Yeah.
technical term for it.
Yeah. No, that reminds me of .NET. I did it like prior to jumping into like full stack with Node and JavaScript. I was working in the .NET ecosystem, so like C# and stuff, and they have the same. It's the same idea. You know, you have IL, intermediary language code, and so you could be writing something in C#, VB, what was it called? VB.NET or whatever, F#, and they all can compile to IL. Same idea, and even across different platforms now. Since I haven't done any .NET in a long time, but yeah, it's a cool concept and I have some questions too. I'm wondering like if you convert it to JSON, that's like something you could serialize over the wire. I don't know if you do anything like that with it or not, or like I guess you probably wouldn't have like a generate a component on the fly for some reason, but I don't know. It's like it's transportable basically though if it's in JSON already, so which is kind of neat.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that people have mentioned. Something, that's occurred to me is that, well, maybe we should be just storing the JSON. Maybe we should just be like not storing the stuff on the left.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Steve was chiming in with that. The Quick API actually does do that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I mean, even I don't know if you've noticed, like the bottom third of the screen that you're
Yeah.
sharing right now, that's Builder, by the way. So that's like the Builder
Oh,
fiddle
okay.
inside of the Mitosis fiddle, and so we're using that to kind of show you the actual component that you're building.
Okay.
And so yeah, you can drag, you can drag and drop.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, I think it probably doesn't work because it's just holding on to. Oh. I think it's because you have the width set to full. It might be overriding the state from the input, so that's why I like removed the text input.
Okay.
But the way we send this data to the builder.io like iframe at the bottom is we send a builder JSON, which is very similar to the Mitosis JSON, but we send that over there, and then builder.io knows how to convert that into like a component within its view. And I mean, I can imagine a future where people want to just like hold on to the JSON and not worry about the way the JSON was written, because that could enable some like crazy stuff where, I mean, this is like very futuristic, but if you have multiple syntaxes for mitosis, which is, we'll talk about mitosis in a second, that's what it is. You could have somebody writing a mitosis component using JSX, somebody else writing a mitosis component using like Svelte syntax or like Vue syntax, and everyone's contributing in their own way, and then it all stores JSON in your code base, and then that's all that matters at the end of the day is what is the JSON holding on to, and then your IDE could have like a thing that converts the JSON and makes it look like, I don't know, whatever syntax you want.
No,
but yeah, right now we're not like, we're using the JSON to generate everything else, but we like don't, at least like in the SDKs, we don't store it at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. I'd be curious about with the Quick API. I've only kind of like headline read about Quick. I know we have integrations at Netlify, so you can deploy it there, but I guess that maybe ties into it's a whole other topic, but the resumability story of Quick, I guess, which we won't get into that because that'll completely derail what we're talking about. But if if folks are interested in Quick, it's quick.io, right? The URL.
Yeah.
I think?
That's true. And I'm also not the person I won't be able to derail us by talking about Quick, because even though I work with Mishko, Manu, Adam, and everybody else, it's definitely, some of it goes over my head too. it's quite like brilliant stuff going on there. That
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
quick.builder.io. I
Oh
guess like
yeah,
quick.io
yeah.
is
Sorry.
much
Yeah,
more.
yeah. Follow Steve's link, not mine. Sorry. But yeah, that's definitely something I'd love to talk about on another stream, but not for today. Okay, so this is cool, and I guess the other thing is like, so the the mitosis part is the representation that we stick with. It, I imagine, I think we talked about this briefly when I was talking to you at the Solid JS meetup, but there's no story of going from like I have a React component to mitosis, and I think please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you said it's not really something you want to do right now because there's so many different things that could happen to generate what you would want in mitosis, like because people can literally do anything in userland. I think that was the reason. Is that right, or am I?
Yeah. No, you got it. Yeah, it's like the way we are able to parse the mitosis that's on the left is by having a certain set of guardrails.
Yeah,
Like you're gonna put your CSS in this place. You're gonna not have like all sorts of crazy JavaScript expressions, like ternary operators and things like that in your
yeah,
JSX body. If you were to start like really putting everything everywhere, then the parser would not be able to be like, oh well, what is this that I'm looking at? Where is this going to go?
yeah,
And so that's, I mean, we could definitely put together like a very basic parser that handles like, I don't even know what percentage you'd be able to get of like React components, but like if
yeah,
if you worked on like a React code base, you know that like there's just so many different ways you could put
yeah,
things, store things, move things around, and it's like how is that how is any one parser going to be able to handle all the exponential combinations of the way people feel like
yeah,
writing React that day, you know? um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
far
it's
easier to like push to like write like just do a one-time conversion to mitosis, and then once you have that, you're kind of like you're
yeah,
good to go.
yeah, and I like that it's in JSX. I personally love the ergonomics of JSX. I know there are some folks that don't like it, but you know, I just find it works well with my brain. Yeah, so that's
Hmm.
kind of neat that you opted to go with JSX. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think we just went with it because it's like the most popular thing, and that's all the tools are built in for. Yeah, exactly. Like Steve said, that the TS support for JSX is so good. It's like
yeah,
we're not here to solve the syntax problem of like what is the best syntax for like a templating engine for React
yeah,
frameworks. Like we don't care. Like that's not the point today. Like the point is we have this thing that we're writing over and over again. How do we write it once? Okay, let's just use JSX. It's yeah. There's like every single tool knows how to handle JSX as like a syntax. I don't know if syntax is the technical. I think JavaScript syntax maybe. Yeah.
yeah,
So we didn't want to reinvent the wheel there, and like that's really what we
yeah,
want to do at Builder. We just want to like move on and use whatever's out there and just build what
yeah,
doesn't exist out there the way we need it. But
yeah,
that kind of like touches on a good point, which is like not everybody likes ESX. So the beauty of it being a JSON is that anybody can write their syntax that they prefer. And that's
yeah.
exactly what an external contributor did with Sveltosis, which
Okay.
we can see at try.sveltosis.dev.
Okay, I'll
Um,
go check that out. Let's see here. Sveltosis.dev. Oh, whoops. Maybe I did it wrong.
try.sveltosis.dev.
Oh, try. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on a sec. I'm just going to try Sveltosis. It'll show up, I'm sure. There we go.
Svelte is.
Okay, here we go. Let me zoom that in a bit. Okay. So we're at Sveltosis now. So okay, so this is a builder. Okay, I didn't realize it was part of Builder. Okay.
It's not
Or Mitosis.
so this
Sorry.
is it's not part of Mitosis either. So this is Raymond Muller. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. He wanted to build a Svelte syntax for Mitosis, so he just copy pasted our Fiddle repository and just started like
Okay.
hacking away at it. And so yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
it's powered by us. I mean, we're helping him out, but it's not part
Yeah.
of it's not in our code base. But
Okay.
eventually, I think we want to get that Sveltosis syntax in the official Fiddle because it's pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
you can see, this is Svelte syntax. So
Yeah.
I think maybe the team that he's working with is much more familiar with Svelte, and that's what they like. And we have
Okay.
like Mitosis has nothing against that, so he started adding. Yeah,
I'm
you
just
can
having
try to
some
see
fun
that.
while you're talking.
Yeah, no, I'm watching. I want to see I don't know. I want to see what the support is like for the stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, you can just write stuff like you'd expect, hopefully. And
Yeah. I think I did that right. Maybe he
delete.
doesn't support the styling yet.
Maybe try removing the scoped.
Oh yeah, maybe. I'm sure if
Hmm.
I update here though, const yo equals 1.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe the ref. I think once you have like something that it doesn't know how to parse, it might kind of not
Okay.
know what to do. Yeah, I'm not sure what the level of support is on like everything because he's still chipping away at it.
Oh, I know what I did wrong. It's me. It's I didn't give a tag, so the CSS was
Oh,
wrong.
there you go. Yeah.
That's
Oh, there
me.
you go.
That's
Sweet.
live. That's live coding. That's what happens when you live code.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome though, man. Oh, look at that.
So this is super cool. Okay, and it's automatically setting it to scoped because I'm in view 3. Okay. No, that's super cool. And like you said, this is an external contribution, and I can definitely see how this can become super powerful because you said there's a whole plugin system. People are forking it, and they're like enabling people to do it in other ways too, which is super cool because like once this is vetted as being, hey, it's pretty stable, like people could say this is what we're going to work with instead of the default, and assuming it supports all the other stuff that Mitosis does, which it looks like it does because it's literally a fork of the Fiddle. So no, this is really really cool. And I guess the other question I have too is like, so like, there's the part where I've never really done a ton of work with ASTs. I've been a consumer more of AST stuff. Like I remember like when React pulled out prop types, I remember using code mods and running them, and I've used AST Explorer to, just fiddle around and stuff, but I've never actually built anything using ASTs. So I don't know, just on my own, for my own personal, I feel like this would be a really cool repo to contribute to. So I'm definitely going to dig into it. But, once you get past the part where like there's the part where we got to parse the AST, like I guess adding the different languages, that wasn't that, I don't want to say difficult. It wasn't that difficult, but it's like it's the same kind of thing after that kind of. It's just more like, okay, we need to generate it in the Vue syntax or the React, but it's kind of the same recipe at that point, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I feel like Mitosis is a very unique open source project in that way, in that it really is not. I mean, I don't know if that's like a too general of a statement to make, but it feels like a project that many people will be able to contribute something to,
Yeah.
because once the foundation is there, once you have a parser and you have some JSON schema that it parses things to, and then you have generators that consume that schema, then the bugs that you're going to find is like, oh, well, it's not generating the thing the way I expect to. You go to the generator of your choice and you'd be like, okay, where is it
Yeah.
consuming that part of the schema? Oh, it just needs to do it that way instead of this way, because spreading props
Yeah.
in Svelte needs like $2 before props. Okay, you just add the $2 in the string, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like that simple. Adding entire new features becomes a bit more involved. Like if you want to add support for a new kind of hook, then you
Yeah.
need to add it to the parser. You need to like figure out a way to parse it, store it in the schema, and then like add it to a bunch of like all of the generators ideally, or at least like a couple of them
Yeah.
as a proof of concept that it does work. But yeah, it's. I mean, at least I think so. I do think that once you kind of understand the general layout, like parser, generator,
Yeah.
and there's a JSON in between, then it's very easy to just jump from place to place. And we've seen a lot of people just come in out of the blue and add like a use effect with update dependency array like feature to React. Like,
Okay.
okay, that's awesome. Like you just showed up, that's your first PR, and you're committing that. It's happened enough times that I do think,
Okay.
yeah, like kind of adding and making things is not that
Yeah.
is maybe easier than like your average big scope open source project.
Yeah, no, this really looks like a super interesting project to contribute to. So when I get some time, I've got to dig into this. No, that's super cool. Another question I had is, so like right now we're showing components that are somewhat trivial, like it's a div or it says hello and stuff, and it not transpiles it. Sorry, it converts it to the according language syntax. Uh, how complex of a component can you build in there? Like because I imagine there's limits to some degree, and like there's some stuff you might not encourage. Like for example, like I'm gonna wrap context and then this and this and this, and like I guess like what are the limits, if any, and like or what recommendations do you usually tell people in terms of like if they're going to build something with mitosis in terms of a component?
Hmm. That's a good question. In terms of recommendations, I mean, we're kind of learning as we go. Is the answer?
Yeah.
Like, it's still mitosis has been around for a while, but it's been kind of like a grind of like just adding more support for more things, and we're using it
Okay.
actively. But like, we have like our enterprise customers of Builder using the SDKs that were built with mitosis, so we have
Yeah.
pretty good confidence in what it does. But in terms of like, how do you go about building the perfect mitosis component? I think it's I don't know if we have
No,
like
no,
any things to. Yeah, wanted to.
no, I was just gonna say I don't mean like the perfect, like this is
Mhm.
the component to kill all components. It's more like, what I mean, like you like if I think of React, like when like whether you have a state management library, whether it's Redux, whatever, or you've got something like Zod in there or whatever. Like, do you include those things? Or are these really meant to be components that get composed into other components? I guess
Mm.
kind of more
Um,
like building block components, I guess, is what I'm getting at. If that's like the use case or not, or
mm. You can just go as complex as you want. I think. I mean, we're still, we are getting more and more complex use cases. So I don't know, like the answer might change in the near future, but
okay,
there is nothing. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anything inherent that you have to like keep in mind, but at the end of the day, you can just climb in terms of complexity. I mean, just the way you use components anywhere else. Like you saw,
yeah,
like the components are just components at the end of the day. Like they generate just plain React code. So just
yeah,
the way you build the smaller building blocks and then add more and more complexity is perfectly valid way to go about it. I don't
okay,
know, like yeah, I don't know what the ceiling is yet. We haven't encountered anything that's kind of like, oh, this is a limitation, like a hard limitation.
okay,
So yeah, I don't know. My answer is you can do
okay,
anything. I'm trying to
yeah,
preface it a bit before saying it, but I
yeah.
mean, you can
Yeah,
build
yeah, no, that's
absolutely
cool.
anything you want with mitosis.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just your imagination's the limitation, people. No, that's cool. And this brings up, I mean, I know we're in the Fiddle right now, so like we're kind of isolated with like the one file, but I'm curious if this is something like you you probably would you build, like, I don't know, say I had a component composed of other components, which is a typical thing that happens in mitosis land. Would I like import the mitosis component in the one I want to, in the component where I'm composing it, or is it more like I feel like that's probably what you would do, because you still need the mitosis syntax, or like what would that look like? Because like again, like I said, we're in one file here right now, but like if you were doing this in a project, for example.
Yeah, 100%. You would just build a mitosis project, and then you would build the whole thing with the mitosis CLI. So
Okay.
we have like two commands, like mitosis build and mitosis compile. Compile is meant for just one file being built to one target. One target, or
Okay.
target is our term for like React, Vue, Angular, like your output. And
Yeah. Yeah.
mitosis build would be what you'd use to generate an entire project. So you just give it like a glob, you'd give it like a folder or multiple folders, and you would take care of
Okay.
all of that. So it would like modify all of your imports so that it's pointing to the right thing. Like when you generate view files, it's going to like
Yeah.
import from .view files instead, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
And yeah, that's how you go. But I mean, I can even give you this, link you the source code to our SDKs, which is written that way and has all of that. Where should I
You can
send
drop
that
it in
to
the
you?
you can drop it in the
Here.
Twitch chat if you want, or you can. There's a messaging app I can. Yeah, there we go. You just popped up. Okay,
Yeah.
let me copy that link. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so I mean, you can
it.
see the source. I mean, I don't really dive into the code, but you can see an example of like a complex. I mean, if you want to see an example of a complex component, we definitely have that. If you search for render content, render-content, is going to be .light.tsx, so the second one.
Okay. Okay.
So I mean, it can get complicated. It's importing other .light components in there that it's using over and over. There's all sorts of like state, event handling, context setting, on mount, on update, on unmount. So all of these, like all of the sort of like the usual culprits that you'd expect in, because they exist in most web frameworks, are there.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mitosis, the Mitosis build command takes care of everything for you.
Okay. And so for the Mitosis files, is that the .light extension? Is that what that is? Or is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The .light is kind of, I guess, because Mitosis first used to be called JSX Lite because it was kind of like a subset of JSX. But then we realized like that's just like a part of it is the fact that it's using JSX. That's not like the whole picture, but the .light syntax kind of is still representative of the fact that we're writing JSX code here.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's neat. And like, so say I were to, I've just got all these questions popping into my head. So the .light extension is a Mitosis file. So if I were to open up the project in Visual Studio, for example, a .light file is not recognized, obviously, but would I just say map .light files to JSX in VS Code or another editor, or is there an extension you add to the editor, or?
Oh, it's .light.tsx. So if you scroll up a bit, you'll see that this file is called .light.tsx. So we definitely wanted to avoid like you having to configure any like mappings. It's a TSX file. And all you have to do is set up your TS config so that TypeScript uses the JSX definition of Mitosis instead of the one from React. So there's like a setting there where you say like, oh, when you see JSX, get the definition of it from builder.io/mitosis, and it's going to get all of the types from there.
Okay, so, and I guess because I've had to work with JSX before and TSX in terms of modifying the types on a different project, but so for the .light.tsx, I guess you kind of take the existing types from the JSX definition and you enhance it or create a smaller set out of it, or because like you said, the JSX is, the syntax isn't different, but it supports more or less things in Mitosis land, or?
So we have this here. I'm getting you the link.
Yeah.
So this is the JSX runtime types for Mitosis. I think it's the different.
Oh no, I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, sorry, I put the same one again. Okay.
There you go. So we've kind of like based on the way we define what attributes work and don't work in Mitosis, and like some of the stuff that we've added, some of the features that we've enabled, we have our own custom JSX runtime types here, which you're free to like. I guess like I don't know if your question was around like how we created these, or whether as a user, like in user lines, you want to make changes on top of these.
No, it's more because there's differences in the JSX. So if you use TSX in like a regular React project, the types are there. So like there's some differences in the Mitosis one. So I was just curious that you you did what I thought you were doing, which is you have the JSX namespace and you make the modifications necessary for your types to serve the correct types when you're editing the file. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. TypeScript kind of like figured out that's another benefit when we say like TypeScript supports JSX very well, is that there's an explicit setting in your TypeScript configuration called JSX import source, which is like, tell me where to import your JSX configuration from, which I don't think they've done that for like any kind of other syntax. So that easily lets you just swap in, and we have this. It's like different in certain ways from React and Solid.js, etc., and it picks this one up instead of the React one.
No, this is super cool. There's like it's like, I mean, I know this is used at Builder, but it's like it's a pretty cool project like on its own, you know what I mean? Like and that's cool. And I didn't ask this at the beginning, but this is what you work on full time, right?
Yeah. I ping pong between building the SDKs, and whenever the SDKs, whenever I can't build something in the SDKs, if the reason I can't build it is because Mitosis has a bug or Mitosis does not support a feature yet, then I'm ping ponging between both. But yeah, I'm spending a decent amount of time on like the Mitosis project / like community, trying to keep things running, moving forward. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And in terms of the community, is that through a Discord you have, or?
Yes, we have the Builder Discord has a group of channels. I don't know the terminology, but there's like a Mitosis group of channels.
Okay.
Which
I don't know if you have the link to that. If not, I can Google it.
Yeah, that's what I'm. There you go. Copy link. I think I did that right.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah, here, let me copy that. Okay, I'm just gonna drop that in the chat. Encourage folks to check that out. I have a lot of stuff I want to look at. No, this is super cool. So the project's pretty mature. I mean, it's used in production already, obviously through Builder. It's pretty amazing that people are creating things like Sveltosis. It sounds like you got a pretty good community around it too. So it's like I don't know, it sounds like a cool project to be working on, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. That's like one joke I keep saying. Like, I'm not sure how I got put in a position where I'm working on Mitosis internally. I kind of ask everyone in terms like, why am I here? But I'm obviously very, very glad and happy because you kind of end up just exploring like every single framework that exists today, and like whether you like it or not type thing, because you're like, okay, the generator is broken. How does Vue work? Okay, how does Svelte work? How does Solid.js work? Like how does Quick work, right? And so it opens your eyes. You kind of start seeing patterns, and you abstract away the what the web framework is, and your understanding of web frameworks kind of changes a bit. And maybe start seeing like the bigger picture. We're like, okay, like they're all kind of doing the same thing. They've got their little like different syntaxes. You import functions that are called differently, but like it's just like a bunch of HTML with some like event handlers and some styles. That's all it boils down to. Or at least you have to think of it that way if you want to like build something like Mitosis.
No, this is super cool. I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch in on Mitosis right now. Like, I mean, I definitely encourage people to dig into the code base, and I see there's some issues open. Like I said before, I definitely want to check this out when I get a bit of free time. Aside from that, I don't think we got too much else to dig in, or is there something else you wanted to mention about Mitosis, or?
Nothing. Just anyone and everyone, please join, contribute things, play with it. My personal pet peeve is whenever like I stumble on people online and they're like, I tried it, it is kind of buggy. Like, buddy, I have not seen a single issue from you on the repo. If you work on it and if you try it out and you find something that doesn't work, these are all very easy things to fix, whether it's you because you're excited to contribute or somebody else. We can't fix things without knowing that they're broken. And when you have like 12 different syntaxes, you can't know everything that's broken.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
I
that's great.
heavily encourage people to come in and check it out and let us know what they think. And if they're interested in helping out, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna be giving a talk about mitosis in London in about a month. So yeah, looking
Oh yeah.
forward to that as well. So that's gonna be exciting. Hopefully, introduce a lot more people as well to mitosis and get them to hear about it.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna drop a
yeah,
link to that. That's Modern Front Ends Live. Yeah. So
correct.
yeah, if folks can, if you're going there, definitely say hi to Sami. Go listen to his talk. If not, I don't know if they're. I imagine they're recorded, but I don't know. But that sounds super cool though. Yeah. Well, I gotta say this was like super cool. I had a ton of questions, but you were like answered all of them, and it's I'm just gonna say it again. It's a super cool project. I'm definitely digging into this, and yeah. Aside from that, best of luck on the move to Halifax, and thanks again so much for coming on. Um, we have two. I have two streams going on this week, folks. So we had Sami today, and then Wednesday, Rizal Scarlett from GitHub's going to be talking to us all about GitHub code spaces. So definitely check that out on Wednesday. And yeah, thanks again, Sami. And we'll see you all Wednesday.
Thanks, Nick. Have a good one.
Bye.